Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Galactic Alliance. I'm your host, Sheila Seppi, here with my little tiny co host and appendage, Willow. Tonight, I'm very excited to bring Miss Marianna Lee up because Marianna has been co hosting with me throughout this entire month, bringing some phenomenal speakers, sharing some uplifting, exciting information with us. So I really am appreciative to that. And Mariana, in her own right, is a channel of the divine feminine. And so who knows, maybe you'll bless us tonight with just a little channeling before we sign off. But she has brought some absolutely phenomenal speakers for us tonight. First, we have Mirandez, and she is going to talk with us about the Akashic Records and a little bit about what's going on during this season of the autumn equinox and some of the things that maybe we should really start to pay attention to. And then we'll have Glenda Dawson also speaking with us about her near death experience and some of that knowledge that she brought back. So, without any further ado, Mariana, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you, and you can give a formal introduction to our speakers. So, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being together with us today. What an honor as we finish off the September month. What a blessing. We've had some amazing guests on this month for sure. And tonight, I am so happy to share Mahirna's beautiful, beautiful Akashic Records work. And she is one of the best scribes in the world for the Akashic Records. Definitely, for my opinion, I've known her for many years, and she's helped hundreds and hundreds of people throughout the world. And Glenda Dawson, amazing. I call her my partner in crime in so many different things. And she's been my mentor for a long, long time. I mean, she's an inspiration and definitely a spearheader of the spiritual evolvement and ascension of the human consciousness collective at this time. So I'm so happy to have her talk about her near-death experience. And let's bring on, I guess, Mahirnas first. Let's see what Mahirnas has to say.
Thank
Hi,
you so
Mahirna.
much. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, Marianna. Hi, Sheila. Thanks for this wonderful introduction. Tonight I'm thinking we'll talk a little bit about the records, but also I would like to just introduce myself. And I grew up in India with studying a lot of the Vedas with my gurus. And one of the main astrological events that's happening is, of course, we have this big equinox portal. And yesterday was a big Libra new moon. And for the last 2 weeks, when we had the days of the ancestors, and just today started the days of the mother goddess. That is the celebration. So we're in very, very new energy right now. So let me talk a little bit about that. The autumn equinox is always a very magical time, in the sense that we're kind of coming out of the external summer, and we're kind of going inward into falling into the harvest season and looking into our emotions. And that's how the planetary alignments are arranged right now. We have so much going on. The Libra new moon yesterday, which is bringing in these new beginnings in the balance in our relationships, but at a much, much deeper level, because we just passed through Virgo season and we completely revamped all of our physical. We've had all these ascension energies anchoring into the physical third dimension. And a lot of people have felt that in their bodies and rearranging their diets, or even some people are moving, changing homes and things and all of that. And now we're into Libra season, which is the Virgo is the heart and Libra is the higher heart. So this particular Libra new moon is directly aligned to what we call the super galactic center, which is a giant black hole. And and our galactic center consists of the 30 galaxies. And so it's directly aligned. It's a 2 degrees Libra, direct line there, and it's opening a very giant portal for us to make these leaps and bounds as we move into the higher frequencies. So there are a lot of choice points here. This entire time is about choices. So not only Libra is about choice and balance and the equality of day and night that comes with the equinox, whereas we're at this point where are we going to go? And a lot of timelines are shifting and merging, and depending on the choices we make, we're going to be propelled into those as manifestation, just kind of increases moment to moment. So we also have Mars in Gemini and Neptune in Pisces. So all of these dual signs, Libra is about balance, Gemini is also a dual sign, and Mars being in Gemini is bringing its fervor, its mojo in that choice point. And then Neptune being in Pisces, again another dual sign, which is all about our higher heart and higher mind connecting into the Pisces, which is our psyche, our imagination, our the 12th house. So there's a lot of choice points going on here. So now, where are we with that choice point? So Pluto retrograde in Capricorn and Saturn square Aquarius are the two major themes of this particular year, this entire year. So Saturn square Aquarius is all about the Aquarian energy, the new energy, and the old paradigms of Saturn, the patriarchy, and which one's going to win. And it's always the outer planets that usually win. So we're going more into Aquarius, but there is the struggle through which that determination is happening. So another choice point there in the collective. And the Pluto square Capricorn, of course, Capricorn is our boxes, our structures, the patriarchy, things that have been the same way for eons of time, that have been built. And Pluto is coming in and bringing a complete breakdown and a complete breakthrough in those choice points. And in that Capricornian structure, and that is happening outside of us and it's happening inside of us. So what are the structures in your life that are currently asking for revamp? And in what way are you going to bring that revamp? And so in order to kind of make that choice, I'm just going to talk a little bit about a couple of these dwarf planets. So one of them is Axion, which is directly, again, very much in close alignment with the supergalactic center. And Axion is a complete rebel, does whatever he likes to do. But the higher octave of Axion is truly allowing what your heart desires to come and set free. So as we're moving and creating this new world around us, how do we create that from the inside out? What is it what lights your heart on fire and what truly does that? And then how do you use that, bring it into balance using the Libra energy, and then define your internal reality and your external reality in terms of your relationships, and bringing that balance between self-love and loving others and creating the circle, creating our circle, like Sheila was talking about, the entire restructuring of Galactic Alliance in our circle. And another dwarf planet that I want to talk about, which is very much making an impact right now, is called Manway. And Manway is a very, very highly aligned, he always talks about making the better choice between good and evil, extremely high teacher. And so at this point in time, we are looking at a lot of shadow with all of that Plutonian energy, a lot of shadow. And the reason we're looking at all of this shadow throughout our timeline, some of us are actually going through a total review of our life until now, and seeing how we close chapters, revisiting anything that was left over that has not been resolved is coming up for release. And as we go through all of that release and do our shadow work and go through that darkness with a deep dive with Pluto, we're now, then we get to make the higher choices. So this was my story until now. However, this is what my story is going to be from now on. And I'm choosing to drop all that karma and move into the higher dimensions, and no longer going to be rolling around in that same cycle. So this is where I would like to bring in the records. The Akashic records, as most of you are aware, are the records of an entire soul's journey over timelines, all the way up to the soul's origination before, and then prior to the soul's origination, they're stored in the halls of Amenti. So when we open the records of your soul, we bring in the understanding of all of the karmic cycles that the soul has carried over timelines. And then using astrology, we look into what the soul decided to choose from those lessons to resolve in this particular timeline, and using the gifts that they have in order to bring out closure of those lessons or learn those lessons. And once they do learn those lessons, then they get out of the karmic cycle and achieve their moksha. And until then, it is the repetition of the cycle. So when we move into the records, we look at the patterns, where the patterns come from, for the purpose of resolving them and clearing that from our DNA, the imprints of those patterns from our DNA, understanding who we have been in other timelines, what our gifts have been, exactly how, you're a light worker, but what kind, very specifically, and what do you bring in? And then we go further into galactic timelines and define our galactic, points of origin, because we're all immigrants here on Earth. So what do you bring from your planet of origin? And what is that gift that you bring in order to come in over here and share that with the world? And what is your purpose? And how do we release anything that's in the way to put you on your highest mission timeline, which we need all of our light workers to be on at this point in time? We need as many of us as awake and as evolved as possible, as Gaia now is physically holding space in this dimension, as this dimension anchored into the physical from the point in time of this Virgo new moon last month, literally. So all of the stuff that we have been anchoring, all of the energies that we have been anchoring within our consciousness are now manifesting into the physical plane. And so we need to align our bodies, our consciousnesses, the people we surround ourselves with, our entire our homes, our surroundings, to match this higher dimensional consciousness. And that is where we are at this point in time. And we have 6 planets in retrograde. Now, this is a huge deal because, we're always talking about Mercury retrograde. This is huge with Mercury and Jupiter and Saturn and Uranus and Pluto and Neptune, all of them in retrograde. And what happens when a planet is in retrograde? We are revisiting, we are going backward and revisiting how we have literally lived these planets throughout our timelines. And this is in our internal scheme of things. And kind of taking account and seeing how we can move through that and again drop that karma in order to move into higher consciousness. So that is our point of retrograde. And in the external world, what the retrograde is doing is slowing things down to give each individual the internal opportunity to revisit that. And because very soon, with all of these alignments, once again, Saturn's still going to be in Aquarius and Pluto's still going to be squaring Capricorn. So we are going to see big pivotal changes from October to December. Huge, huge, huge changes. And this is preparation time through Virgo season, through Libra season, to bring ourselves into our balance and our center and our alignment with all of these choice points and all of these shifts and all of these changes and our entire evolution into the physical now, to anchor into our center, because it is in the eye of the storm that we're going to find our calm and be able to be light showers, play showers, as the world prepares to go into its transitional frequency. So, that is pretty much what I wanted to talk about in terms of a very important piece that comes where is Venus, the only planet that's not in retrograde at this point in time, is bringing in the message of self-love. And again, Libra season is whenever we evaluate self-love versus our relationships, of the balance between what we are keeping and what we're giving, and bringing in the balance between the giving and receiving, which is so, so important. Excuse me. In order to understand that when we shine our lights from within, as Axion tells us to really go within and shine like the sun, everybody else receives that energy through that light. But what happens if the sun, apologize, I've had a bit of a dry throat for the last few days. What happens when the sun tries to shift its position in order to accommodate someone else? It's going to cause a chaos in the entire solar system. Stand in your center, stand in your ground, stand in the eye of the storm, and you will be guided where to next to show your light and assist this world that's about to go into its transition.
So much for bringing all of those really words of wisdom forward, because all of us, regardless of what we do in our earth walk, we're all experiencing this change of season together. And so, thanks so much for letting us know as we're experiencing these things. Now I know why we're experiencing them. So thank you so much for being here tonight. We appreciate it, and hopefully we'll have you back another time. So thanks so much for coming.
So welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So Marianna, you want to come up and join me, and we'll go ahead and bring on Miss Glenda.
Yes, indeed, Glenda.
Oh, who is
Oh,
she?
yeah.
Where is she? Where did she
Well,
go? There
well,
she
in the
is.
world, as Maher
All
said, of
right.
this incredible transition, I feel intuitively, and I was definitely guided that when Mahernas was talking about your near-death experience message would definitely give a huge perspective on the transitional period between October and December. Thank you so much, Mahernas. And at some point before we end, definitely give us your information about the Fire Bearer Wellness, from your work, and how we find you. Definitely. But Glenda, please do tell.
Oh, well, I know you guys think it's only once, but I was actually dead clinically 5 times. Other times we're not too sure of, but dead definitely 5 times. And the first time was approximately the age of 13 in the ocean. Undertide takes me, and I see everything happening slow motion. I see the people as I pass them by, and I'm trying to grab sand. I'm trying to grab them. I'm trying to grab everything. I'm under at this point. And all of a sudden, I just got told and I heard, let go. Okay, you guys know what you're talking about. Let go. Because by that time, I was already that close with my team. So they said to let go, and I stopped fighting. And I proceeded to then float out into the ocean. And I actually saw my body floating. I was going up and up, and all of a sudden, here I am in space somewhere. Some people call it heaven, some people call it back in home, whatever you want to word it. It was a beautiful place. No, you could not see bodies. This stays here, people. This stays here. You don't recognize each other by your outside. This is just makeup that we're wearing right now. You recognize yourself by the energy. And because of the energy, I was able to recognize my great grandparents that already passed, and my aunts and uncles that already passed, friends and family members. I also recognized Ascended Master Jesus, Buddha, and a couple of other Ascended Masters. And at that point, I was like, where am I? And you guys said to trust you, so I'm trusting you, but where am I? And then I started to feel that overwhelming amount of love, a level of love that you cannot even explain. Well, they gave me what I call a download real quick. For me, it was, it seemed like it took forever, but from what I understand, I was only really dead about 10 minutes. So I just go, and I got download, basically showing me what my next steps would be, that I should or could do this, that I, in order to progress, not only spiritually within myself, but with those, help those around me progress and become a better version of themselves, and try to find what they really came here for, their purpose. They said to just keep what I said to myself, and that it would start panning out. The road will start just opening up, and I will know which road to take. I'm 13. The last thing I was thinking about was saving the world. I wanted to go to the shore, play with my toys then, my friends, hang out. That's the last thing you want to do. Save the world, come on. I'm only 13. They said, this is the beginning. You start early. You start when you open up, when you awaken, when you know that you're more than what you think you are. And when you start to realize that there's more out here than what they're showing. Well, I came back, they patted me, that was no fun, by the way. That leaves marks on your chest for a while, just so you know. Okay. Which is not an easy thing to take care of, especially for a 13-year-old who's never really just sitting there and quietly and relaxing and all that. So I also noticed after that experience that my gifts, my talents were being heightened. I became more artistic. I was able to hear somebody playing piano or somebody playing an instrument in general, and I was able to just play it for the first time without anything, right on the piano. I was able to read people's lips. Those people that try to secretly tell each other stuff, they forget it. With me, I could tell you what they're saying. I started to feel other people's feelings, which that was really at first overwhelming, because I would walk into anywhere, even school, and I could tell who was hurt by who, and who was having a bad day, and the hormones, even though at that time I really didn't realize it was hormones all over the place. And Oh, he doesn't love me. Oh, he loves me. All the craziness of being a teenager. But I also started to question things. Um, I was probably the only person that was ever thrown out of what they call Sunday school for asking too many questions. I uh, I I started asking, things didn't work, things didn't line up for me. If they tell me A, well, why isn't A over here? If you're telling me A is the right way to do it, why is Z over here? So I started to ask questions. And then they said to me, oh, read the Bible. Okay, I read the Bible. It's more questions. The more I read, the more questions I had. And of course, they decided that I knew too much. So they told my parents that as much as they appreciated me going there and giving them a different point of view, that they preferred that I didn't go. Basically, in a kind way, get out, which was fine for me because I just couldn't deal with the double talk and all that. To me, I like things simple, um, and I like things to be explained. So I started also getting to know more of my spiritual team, my more guides, more sender masters, more of my family. The one person that I call Granny, she's like 8, 10 generations up. She was with me also. And, so I started to see them, which at first I was only seeing the immediate guides, my 6 guides that I was born with, and then, the archangels, the angels, that kind of thing, but not really see a whole bunch of them. Well, comes this, that, or the other thing, keep growing, going to Catholic school all the way through the end of high school. Mind you, all girls high school, Catholic. Okay, so that's enough on that. Anyway, I'm 22 years old and I get somehow I get into a car, even though I had the red flags, and I didn't listen, and it was a major accident. We got squeezed between two 18-wheelers. One 18-wheeler stopped, the car was in the middle, and another 18-wheeler didn't quite stop. So we ended up under the first 18-wheeler. Of course, I needed to take another break. I went up there again, chatted with a few more people, gave me more download because, at this point I'm like, okay, if I'm going to keep making these trips, I need a little more. I also asked if I could stay up there. And basically they said, we hear your request, push, got sent back. Oh, well. Anyway, doesn't hurt to ask, right? So I started to realize at that point, I could see what people call alien or UFOs very clearly. I could see the ships. I could see people that had attachments, people that had black energy around them. I was able to see energy all around. And at that point is when I started then saying, well, there's really a lot more than I'm seeing. There's really a lot more than they're telling us. And I started to search and read and study because I needed answers. And I didn't ask for answers from one mentor. I went to different mentors because I wanted to get my own truth. Sometimes they don't resonate with you, and that's okay. It's like I even tell my students, if something I say doesn't resonate with you, don't make it yours. Don't make it yours because that's mine. And that's how I teach it. That's what I how I present it. So at that point, I was told um, how many children I was going to have. Now, mind you, had not met my first husband then, but I knew how many children, the color of hair and eyes, and their sex, and in what order. So they already had said, these kids are special. These are the ones you're going to have to take care of. And so I'm like, children, I am still in college. I'm still enjoying myself. I don't even, at this point, I'm not thinking about any other. But they also gave me a whole bunch of other stuff. Like they told me when my parents were going to die, each one of them, they showed me the sequence of things that was going to happen before the last day of their life. They also showed me how my grandmother on my mother's side was going to die, and which that was like a little shocking. I kept saying, I really don't need to know when somebody's going to die. But then I started to realize people were coming to me and asking me advice, and I was able to see if they were going to die or not within 6 months. So I could literally, now that I did, because I felt, last 6 months, live it, do whatever you want. It's best not to know when you're going to die, because then you won't enjoy life. You enjoy life, you take every day as this, it is your last one, and you continue moving forward. Be blessed, be grateful, and enjoy. Now, 35 years, I'm having my last child. Okay. Remember they told me what order, what color of hair. I have a C-section. I get to see him. I see the color of hair, color of eyes, and woof, I go. They brought me back and had to put me into a temporary coma in order for my body to heal enough for me to come back fully awake. So at that time, here I am. They show me everything that's going to go on in the next 20 years. This included, I was getting divorced, who I was going to meet next, how did they look, what my mentors' names were that were going to come up. And those are the ones I had to look for, because they're the ones that had the special knowledge that I needed to continue my work. So again, that time, I kind of did ask to stay, but then I said, oh, never mind, I got small children. They need me. Okay, I'll go back. So I kind of just decided to on my own to come back. Although they were kind of laughing at that anyway. Now I'm really starting to see things. And I'm really experiencing things. I could then now start communicating with animals. I could understand if they have a pain in the right side or in the left side, if they're feeling dizzy, why is it? Is it in the brain? Do they feel something in the brain? I could actually talk to them. Now, at this point, there are times where I'm starting to think I'm a little, I'm losing it a little bit, because how could I talk to them? But it was a great gift. One of the best gifts that they could have given me. Age of 39, I get sick. I find out the hard way I'm allergic to medicine. To the medicine, which is a special antibiotic, the one that you take 2 for the first day and then 1 every day after that for 4 days. Yes. That's the medicine I'm allergic to. Well, after they brought me back, put my stomach, yada, 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 I discovered that I was being shown the house that I live in now. And I was told, you have to start looking for this house. Now, me being Gemini, hard-headed, I wouldn't say difficult, but I like to argue a little. Said, okay, so how am I going to get that house? Everything will be worked out. Okay. And I wasn't until I was in my 50s, early 50s, that I finally decided to start looking for this house. Even though all this time they have been giving me warnings, they have been giving me storms, they have been giving me power outages, they have given me, even the doctors were saying, move to the state that they're telling you to, because this will be healthier. The air is cleaner there. You're getting asthma. You need to move out of this area, yada, yada. Okay. Nah, and I fought. And finally, I ended up in this house. Now, while I'm in this house, I found out that this house was owned by an attorney, and his spirit is here with his wife and two of his daughters. And he is the one that gave me my next instruction as to when to open the center, what to do. And I started with the little tiny one room, not even 200 square feet. And now I have the whole first floor. And that was in 2018. And now I have the whole first floor. Wonderful. And now I have room to hide. No, seriously. But everything that happens to us, there's a reason. And everything that we experience, if we really pay attention, we could learn. And our guides are always showing us the way, always telling us what to do. It is up to us to accept it or not. And let's face it, we like to, all of us, say, nah, that's just my imagination. Oh no, that was just me thinking about it and in a weak moment. Now, in this last time, I did go into my Akashic records. I did straighten them out. I was able to confirm a few of my lifetimes. I was able to confirm that I'm from Sirius originally. I love that name. Anyway, but there's a lot of different things that we are here to do. And one of them is to raise everyone's vibrations, even if it's one person at a time, even if it's one smile at a time, even if it's one hello at a time. You know, you want to create a safe space for those that are around you, so they can look to you and look up to you and feel safe that if they have a question or problem, you can actually discuss it with them and be there to listen to them. So then they could grow and they could learn and heal. And by them healing, that heals all of us. Each and every one of us, by healing just this little bit. By the time it comes around, it's like a whole universe of healing. So I believe the reason they have set me for a ride so many times is because I am hard-headed and I sometimes don't listen. And how easy it is to get my attention when I'm not here. And they're all around me and I'm like, okay, I'm listening now. What is it? So be grateful. Be grateful, everyone. That's the main lesson. Even when you're having that technology days like we have been lately. Just be grateful that you have technology, you know, that we can still communicate in one form or another. We can still communicate, and we still have a lifeline to each other and learn and grow. Okay, that's basically my question, my story. There are a few other times, but I don't want you guys to think of me as a cat.
Did you say think of you as a cat?
Yes, I've
Oh, with the 9 lives? Wow.
so
So, Glenda, when you went over to the other side, you said it's
mhm.
at first is kind of not like what we think. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, everybody thinks that is um this an actual place, an actual, everybody imagines that there's mountains and that there's beautiful trees, like the Garden of Eden type of thing. A lot of people think that. And it is just like a big fluffy cloud, you know. From what I experienced, that's what I I realized that after my first time, I was not it was not the same way as people thought, you know. I I the first thing that got to me was the ability for me to recognize others just by their energy.
Hmm.
The energy just looked like um the smoke from a candle. It's just like that, but just all white, or some were really shiny and illuminating, and some were like with glitter. And that's how I was able to tell who was more ascended master than a regular soul, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, who had healed more had a lighter sense, a lighter color, a brighter energy. Um, because those that had healed most a lot more, or those that had um, learned their lessons that they came down for, already knew how light they were, and they already recognized themselves to their true self, and they loved themselves. And that's the big difference. We beat ourselves up here. Over there, they know who they are,
Hmm.
and basically they love themselves, and the unified love that was there or is there. Oh, it's incredible. But I have to always disclose this: do not take your lives, because you may not experience the same place. You will not ascend all the way up there until you come back and learn the lessons. And I want to make sure that somebody doesn't just decide to take the quick way out. There is no quick way out. Just live your life. Do what you came here for. And you may not know it. You don't have to know it right away. That's the beauty of life. And every single minute it could change, because there's free will, and that's the free will of everybody else. So in general, say my life here is to teach others and raise their energies. That's it. That's my instructions. How I do it, how I accomplish that, how others perceive that, that's free game, as I call it. So,
Beautiful. So,
mm.
Mariana, do you have any questions about that? I've got a couple too, but I wanted to give you a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you two very important questions. So the first time you said when you were 13, you didn't really ask to stay. But then you ask, would it be possible for you to stay at 22? What was that emotional feeling like? What did you feel when you asked that? And why did you ask that at that particular moment in your life? What
Well,
changed?
I did ask at 13 and 22. Okay.
Okay.
Um, I was going through teenage years, for goodness sake. And then at the age of 22, I had a really bad heartbreak. And I was like, okay, I'm done. You're taking me up. Okay, I'm done. Can we just, you know, fast forward? Can I just stay up here? But, so they knew that I needed to go through that to learn my lessons, to heal and to realize who I really was. Because each and every event in my life empowers me, makes me stronger, and makes me realize more who I really am. Um, at the age of 35 is when I said, no, I got kids. Never mind. Okay, I'll go.
I truly believe, remember the movie The Fifth Element, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger?
Mm-hmm.
Was it what I wanted to ask you, because I just actually wanted to share that with you all. I just had a almost a near-death experience last week, and I had almost same thing, and it's the first time I'm sharing it, where it felt so wonderful. And I almost want to be like, okay, I gotta stay up there. Like I want to stay up there because there's no pain here. I don't
Right.
remember fear. I just
No fear.
I just felt light, and I just felt like, oh my God, for the first time in 39 years, my own, I have no pain. I'm so happy. And then I woke up, and then right away, the pain hit, and I'm like, oh, back to being human. Great. Lovely. Why am I back
Yeah.
here? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I have a small child. Right. Yes.
Okay.
Right. Right. But
The
did it
mother
feel
in us.
right? But did it feel scary when you first went up? Did it feel was there like a sense of fear? And as you started to go up there more and more, that dissipate, or did it change every time you went up there?
Well, the first time that I talked about, there was a little fear because I'm trying to swim back to shore, and that whole experience, my eyes are open and I see everybody just, I'm swimming this way and I'm going that way, and I'm like, wait, I'm going that way. Why am I going that way? And then when they said just let go, calmness came over me. It was like there was no fear, and I just said, okay, you guys have never steered me wrong. All right. And that's why I say about creating safe space. They always told me the truth. They always showed me the reality of what I was going to go through for whatever it was, good or bad. I knew in advance, oh, I got to go through that pain again. Oh, come on, you know, whatever it was. But they always left it up to me. And it was my free will to do it or not do it, even with the knowledge of the reality of every event.
Mhm.
I was just like, okay, I got to go through it for a reason. You're showing me, so at least I'm somewhat prepared. But you
Right.
can't get prepared for some of this stuff. Yeah.
One of the points that I want to make, that you really preface that you saw your body swimming to shore, but you had already detached. And that's one of the things that I always like
Mm-hmm.
to share with people is, the consciousness that we have now. Yes, we have a mind, we have the brain, but the consciousness that makes us, that soul essence that makes us, will
Mm-hmm.
detach long before something happens to the body. We begin to slip
Mm-hmm.
out, and we're still thinking these thoughts. So the thoughts that you're thinking right now that are making you still carry those with you. So as you see
Mhm.
yourself swimming to shore, you're thinking, hey, wait a minute. Why am I coming back? I'm supposed to be going forward. And I think it's really
Mm-hmm.
important for people to understand because there's so much fear around death. Now, I'm not trying to sensationalize it either,
No.
but I do want people to understand because, when I came in as a walk in, I remembered the soul slipping out and the soul coming in, and it's a lot more painful coming in than it is slipping out. Because as you slip out and you move to that other side, it is pure peace and it
Right.
is pure unconditional love. And that is something that, you know, once you experience it, it's really, really difficult to find that same. You can find love here, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think, Mariana, now that you've experienced that too?
Well, I've actually experienced near death a few times myself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
including a big car accident when I was 6, and then later
Mm.
on as a brain aneurysm survivor as well. So yeah, I mean, and I've had walk-in experiences myself, and just recent as well, because just recently I went through a very challenging experience where I said I would love a walk-in right now. But that particular transition does affect you on a physical level. I mean, you can
Right.
definitely feel it, and it really could either make you really, really strong and messes with you on a whole DNA level, on a physical level, on a mental level, on the emotional level. But once you kind of like reclaim yourself, and once you reclaim most of your parts in that, it becomes a lot easier. And then things
Mm-hmm.
start to make sense. And like Glenda said, things start to pan out and you start seeing things differently.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an amazing experience. I
Right.
really am grateful for
Right.
everything.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that I see happening here too is because of all the personal work that people have done, and because everyone's working really hard to raise their vibration, they're able to connect in more with their
Mm-hmm.
higher self. Because I do want to say, not trying to discount what you said, but you know, we can't just ask for walk ins to happen and they just happen. There's a merging with higher self essence that
Right.
starts to come in because I used to be inundated with letters from people. Can I just ask for a walk in? I'm ready to check out of here. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. But one of the things that does work is as you're doing your personal work and you are able to connect in with that higher self and pull more of that spiritual knowledge and anchor that into the body,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it easier and easier to continue to raise and continue to pull down. Now, Glenda, I have to say, I know you said that you're hard headed and you don't want to go into the 9 lives, but did your guides ever share with you why they wanted to take you to the other side so many times? Why, once or twice didn't suffice? Why did they need so many times?
That's because my life has been very hard. Although you see me smiling here and you see me laughing all the time, that's because I like to laugh. I enjoy laughter and raising my vibrations and those of others around me. My life has not been easy from birth all the way up to now. And all they kept saying is, we're going to take you up so you could get a little break, so you could kind of recharge and understand it's okay. That will stay. You just got to go through it. You chose to go through it. And I'm like, really? Because I'm telling you, when I go up there finally, I'm going to find myself, I'm going to beat the out of myself because I don't know what I really signed. I think I didn't read the real fine print. And I really have to really read that. But I understand they needed me to recharge and just get myself regrounded, sort of, and understand that this life is only for now.
Right.
To enjoy whatever I can enjoy, leave the other stuff behind, try to heal from it, try to forgive wherever you can on a constant basis, because we all go through things. We all have lives that sometimes a little harder than we want it to be, but that's one of the reasons. The other reasons is so I could be made aware of all my gifts. So
Beautiful.
that,
Well, and I wanted to bring that forward because I know you've had a lot of challenges, lots of
mhm.
challenges in your life. But I wanted people to know that yes, we can have challenges, but it doesn't have to pull us down.
Right.
We can always find something to smile about, something to laugh about. And, I think both you ladies are a prime example of that. And I love you dearly, and I'm so appreciative that you came here tonight. You are bright lights. And what I'd like to do, Mariana, I had asked you earlier if you would be able to channel a little bit for us, and I'd kind of like to close down with that channel. And then for everyone that's here with us in the Zoom room, if you'll just kind of hang out, we'll come back for some questions and answers. So, Mariana, I'm going to go ahead and have you to just share your gifts with us.
Sure. So I'm actually going to share a recent experience that I had recently. Like I said, I had a very, very big health challenge recently, and went through a tremendous amount of pain on that it defies human level. So, and in the, I would say the most critical moment where I had the most deepest of pain on human level, and I have very high tolerance of pain as is. Being a brain aneurysm survivor, they say that's the worst kind of pain there is aside from delivering a child. It's very well true. But I've had other pain as well, including car accidents. But this one really threw me for a loop on a human side. And like Sheila said, if I had not done my personal spiritual work, it probably would have affected me a lot stronger. But what came through in a major channeling, I remember being in the hospital, and I wanted to share that with you all today. And there's a couple of people here in the audience, and I know Brandon is one of them, that would appreciate this message. So I remember standing and holding the rails of the bed, and kind of saying is this is this it pretty much? Like what is it going to take for for me to be able to actually stop this pain, and asking guides for assistance. And what came through was our dear friend, beloved Celestine Starr, who had just recently passed in July. And I felt her hand reach over me, and she was a good friend of mine on the right side. And I felt Yeshua on the left side, and Mother Mary in the back, and Isis in the front, and just everybody kind of smiling, and a couple of other people that had passed not so long ago during COVID times. And what the distinct message from Celestine Starr together with Mother Mary was just surrender. And it comes in such a good timing right now for all of us as we are going into the age of this transition between October and December. And it's in synchronicity with what Glenda said and you had said. Surrender, I asked, surrender to what? And the message was clear: surrender, and the pain will become a lot easier. Because if you sit with this pain, you'll understand the root cause of where it's coming from. And for all of us, on the human level, we go through pain. We go through difficulties. We go through challenges. We go through life and death. But in the middle of that, there's like this, what I was shown was like the straight line between life and death. And in the middle of it, there is pain, but there's also light, and there's also positivity. And pain, if we treat it almost like an enemy, it doesn't help us. It's almost the same thing as we treat ego as something that's outside of us or as an enemy. If we treat pain more of like as our friend, on a way of, let's understand where you're coming from. What are you teaching me? What is your lesson? Exactly like Glenda said, like we criticize ourselves, right? We beat ourselves up in this life. But in the other side, there's nothing but unconditional love, right? Because you understand yourself, you ascend to your authentic self, you love yourself. And one of the biggest things that Celestine Starr said to me was, just hold on. I am here with you as your guides are here with you. I have been through my share of pain, she showed. And she said, when you get to the other side, you're going to see the beauty of this pain. On the human level, you can't really comprehend something like that when you go through it. But on the spiritual level, on your higher self level, you can comprehend it, because the beauty of the pain is the teaching of the lesson, that karmic lesson, dropping of the karma, the teaching of that lesson that then allows you to come so much closer, not only to your ascension, but to your own evolution as a human, but to also, most importantly, to be able to love yourself authentically, and thereby emitting that beautiful frequency of unconditional love that allows you to love everyone you come in contact with, and allows you to help others feel the same, so they come in contact with you, and it becomes like a domino effect, and you affect each other. And I was even prompted, at some point I will be writing a book called Let Your Pain Teach You Something, and it will be talking about how trauma and pain, near-death experiences, and different types of experiences that really stay with you, allow you to see not only the authentic beauty of yourself, but the authentic beauty of life. And life becomes more value when you go through things like that. And things that you thought was important are not necessarily become that important. Gifts open up, just like Glenda said, your abilities open up. You become not different, you just become your best higher version. And that is what I wanted to leave you guys with, is just surrender, not only to yourself, but surrender to the moment, surrender to your pain, and just let go and allow the universe to take hold. And that's the best message for, I think, the ending of this year and the fall equinox. Like Celestine said, in the grace state of surrender, you will finally see all things come to part. And that's my biggest message to everyone tonight. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone for being here tonight. I do so appreciate all of our speakers, everyone who is here in the Zoom room with us. Thank you so much. It's been a very, very powerful evening. I do want to go ahead and to bring all of our speakers back up for just one moment, because before we go for the evening, what I'd like to do is have them to share just some final thoughts, some final comments with everyone, and then we'll close and then come back for the Q&A. Okay, so Glenda.
Yes. Well, all I could say is to take this opportunity right now that the planets are in retrograde, that we are starting a new year, because even in the old times, autumn equinox represented a new year, a new beginning, new way of going into ourselves and seeing what we truly needed to fix or adjust within ourselves, what lessons we still needed to readjust, what people did we need to forgive, what people we needed to ask for forgiveness from. And it is the time from even ancient times where people used to look at this time as the time to prepare and to harvest the last harvest, and then prepare for when spring came. It would be like a butterfly coming out, beautiful butterfly, higher, our best at that moment. Our higher self meets our true self, meets our physical self. So blessings to all.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Marianna, do you have any final comments that you would like to leave people with tonight?
Sure. Thanks, Glenda. I think you really summed it up beautifully about this fall equinox being a very magical time where we're literally, but this time around, it is literally the choice between the light and the darkness as we pick our highest timelines as we move into this completely brand new energy that we're all still learning to navigate and rebirthing from the womb of the galactic center. And so, yeah, just really take your time to go inward, take your time to do all the shadow work you need to do with all these retrogrades. And it's just preparation time. Things will be moving soon.
Thank you. And thank you both for being here tonight. And Marianna, it's our last night together. It's the end of the month. Oh man. But what a beautiful time as we start to move within. And so thank you for, I mean, still being here, even though you had all these health challenges, you've had so much going on in your life this month, and yet you're texting from the hospital. I'm like, what is she doing? What is she doing? Get off the phone. Don't text me. You know, it's like, take care of yourself. Hi. But thank you. Thank you for your commitment to the Galactic Alliance, and, for always honoring your word. Thank you for being there, for being a wonderful support. Thank you, ladies, again for being here. Marianna, do you have any final comments that you would like to share?
Absolutely. I wanted to say a big thank you to Sheila and to the Galactic Alliance because you guys have been such a big part of my family. And I wouldn't have gotten through this year and last year without you guys. Today, I celebrate a year after surviving through COVID successfully. And you know what? You all have been part of my life, my journey since then. And I'm so grateful. Really, it takes a community of light bringers just to bring so much light into the world. And Sheila, you've done an extraordinary job in doing that. You really are spearheading that together with the Alliance. And, you know, pretty soon it'll be like moth to a flame because right now the world needs that. It really, really does. And the Galactic Alliance is a community, exactly like Glenda said, of shared, safe space where people know that they can come together and bring in more light and affect one another like a domino effect and give back in reciprocity. It is amazing. So thank you for the honor. It has been an amazing month to be a part of that. I wouldn't miss it for the world, no matter what. So
Oh,
thank you.
well, thank you so much. And again, thank you, and thank everyone for watching. I appreciate that so much. We're going to go ahead and close for the evening, but stay tuned. Come back in for some Q&A. But for everyone out there, thank you for watching. Please join us again soon. And until then, namaste. Much love, everybody. Good evening.